Hello, hello. Welcome to another YouTube video. Today, I want to answer another question on Instagram. This person asked, Lissa, why do people keep going back to cooked food even though they feel better when they eat raw? So I have 5 thoughts on this that I would like to share in this video. So stay tuned. Thank you ever so much for joining me today for another video here on my YouTube channel. If you like videos like this, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe. You know what to do. Also, go down into the description box below to find all the awesome Black Friday sales that we have going on right now that are ending in a few days. December 2nd is the last day to get these sales. You can get the plant-based bundle. That's over $3,700 worth of content, including $867 worth of our stuff for 50 bucks. That's probably the biggest sale going on right now. And it's the most that we've ever put into a bundle. So if you want to grab our content, that's the best place to do it. Otherwise, you can get 60% off our ebooks in our ebook store at payhip.com/rawfoodromance. And we have other links to other things down below. All the goodies are in the description box. You know where to go to get that. So let's answer that question. Lissa, why do people keep going back to cooked food even though they feel better when they eat raw? So I have 5 thoughts on this. The first one would be they go too long without eating or they aren't eating enough. This is a huge reason why people tend to gravitate towards the cooked food, because when you're hungry, denser calories are more attractive. We want to fuel our bodies up, and we tend to gravitate towards those things. So eating enough is one of the best tools that we have to combat cravings, and making sure that we're eating enough throughout the day is super, super, super important. So think about that when you do have a craving for something cooked and you would prefer to eat raw. Remember that it's probably because you went too long without eating, you're not eating enough, you skipped a meal, or whatever the reason is that you didn't get enough calories in. And then think about what kind of food that you could eat to fuel yourself that more aligns with your goals. And if you feel better eating raw, remember that your body's just asking for fuel, and you're typically, moving towards that cooked food, which we'll talk about in the next thought in just a second, but we're gravitating towards those to get those dense calories. So eat enough. Super, super important. The second thought that I have goes along the same lines, is that it's habit. We typically crave what we typically choose when we are feeling hungry. So again, these two kind of are interchangeable. We crave cooked food when we're hungry, and when we haven't eaten, we need dense calories, and we choose what we habitually choose when we are hungry. So if you typically default to denser calories, like, for example, processed food or animal products, or even just really heavy oil-laden cooked vegan foods, we typically go back to those cooked meals because they are habits, because we choose them usually when we're hungry, because they've been such a huge part of our life. These pathways have been ingrained within us, and habits become strong the more we practice them. So the more often you choose a pizza when you are hungry, the more often you're going to want a pizza when you're hungry. So our cravings can very much be tied to our habits. What do we typically choose when we are hungry? Do we typically call up that takeout place, or go to that specific restaurant, or throw that specific thing into the oven, or whatever it is? What do we typically choose when we are hungry? And how can we change that? How can we change the habit? And that happens from recognizing that we are hungry and that we need fuel, and then making the conscious choice to choose something that feels better in our bodies. So even though we might want to default to the cooked food, and I'm not saying that it's evil or bad or poison or anything like that, but if you genuinely feel better when eating raw food, then take a moment, take a step back and say, I'm craving dense calories. My body needs fuel. What do I need to eat to feel better about myself and feel better in my body? What kind of raw meal can I make right now to satiate myself and to give my body that energy? What do I need to choose? And then the more often we choose that thing, the more often we choose the raw, the more that becomes a habit and the more that becomes the craving. So again, we're never going to overcome every single craving all the time for eternity, and it's never going to be perfect. When we get hungry, we default to what we habitually choose. And there is a way to lessen the cravings for cooked foods or whatever else it might be by making those choices when it's challenging, making the choices for the raw food when you are in that moment where you are needing something dense or cooked or whatever it is. Take a step back and just reflect on what it is that you truly want. Because yes, we may want the cooked food. And like I said, you don't want to tie any shame or regret or guilt or anything to the actual craving itself. Just take a step back and say, I am craving this thing. I'm craving pizza. That means my body needs fuel. What can I choose instead that can help me stay on track or help me practice these new habits? What can I choose instead that will fuel me? And then choose that instead. I know that's the hard part, but you can do it. I believe in you. The third reason why I believe people tend to go back to the cooked food, even though they feel better eating raw, is convenience. This is a big one. It can be really convenient to just call for takeout or throw something in the oven or put something in a pot or whatever. Making these cooked things can be really easy and convenient, especially if you have stuff already made, ready to go, or what have you. If you're busy, you're tired, you're stressed out, all of these can come into play, and convenience really can dictate why people go back to eating the cooked food, even though they feel better on raw. Convenience can take over. And to deal with that is to start to plan and prep. And that's my thought number 4, is that people go back to eating cooked foods because they are not planning and they are not scheduling their meal prep into the day. That can really help deal with the convenience and also eating enough. Because when we plan and prep our meals for the day, that's super helpful. So something that really helps Nate and I is we plan the night before. We write down what we want to make for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we usually just do simple things like a smoothie for breakfast, a salad for lunch, and a salad for dinner, or we'll do a wrap for lunch or dinner or whatever we have. And then we plan out, when do we need to get the things done? The best thing that we do for those busy days when we need to have our food prepped in advance for convenience is we prepare everything in the morning. And that might mean foregoing an extra episode of Netflix or going to bed early so that we can get up early in the morning. We can blend our smoothies, make our lunch dressings, make our dinner dressings, and chop all of the salad in about an hour, first thing in the morning. And then we're done prep for the entire day. We've got 6 meals, 2 breakfasts, 1 for Nate, 1 for me, 2 lunches, 1 for Nate, 1 for me, and 2 dinners, 1 for Nate, 1 for me. So 6 meals in under an hour, and it's done. This can really help with the convenience issue and the eating enough issue. And then the more often you do that, the more often you plan your meals, the more often you schedule in the prep, the more that becomes a habit. The more you're like, oh, I really liked that day when I had all my meals ready. I want to do that again tomorrow, and get excited about doing these things so that you can get them done, so that you can have something convenient, so that you can build those new habits, so that you can fuel yourself. So you're less likely to go back to the cooked foods. And finally, would be peer pressure. That's definitely a really challenging thing for a lot of people, and a reason why they do tend to go back to the cooked food, even though they feel better on raw, is peer pressure. Their family, their friends, their coworkers, or just commercials, seeing things, walking by a restaurant and smelling it. These kinds of things can, make us want to go back to those foods, even though we feel better on raw. And in those situations, again, planning, preparing, making sure you have meals ready to go, making sure that you've eaten enough, And again, that's key. I talk about it all the time. It's so important to eat enough because when we are full, when our gas tanks are full, we are a lot less likely to have these cravings and to want to go back to that because we feel good in our bodies. We feel good about ourselves. So that is another reason why people tend to go back to the cooked food is the peer pressure, is our environment around us. And we can work with that by being prepared and making sure we eat enough and building those new habits. And over time, the peer pressure gets less and less and less and less because we build those habits and we are fueled up and we are planning and we are making things better for ourselves. So those would be my 5 thoughts on why. And don't forget to check out the plant-based bundle if you're looking to add more raw food to your diet. We have 16 different contributions to this. That's our wrap book, our taco book, meal plan volume 3, dude food, the microgreens course, a live lunch video course. There is so much content in here, $867 worth of our content for 50 bucks. Go grab that. The sale ends on December 2nd. So does the 60% off our ebook sale on our website. Code is BFF2024. You know where to go. Links are in the description box below for all the goodies for Black Friday. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll be back tomorrow for another one. And don't forget, we also have Vlogmas that is starting on December 1st. We have a video a day for the entire month of December as a gift to you. So we are also, on a side note, in our Raw Food Romance online community, which you can join. Link is in the description box below as well. It's $47 a month. But for the month of December, we are posting a brand new recipe every single day. And we are doing a challenge to try a new recipe every single day in the community. So if you want those new recipes, join up in the community. That's an option there as well for you if you're looking for more community. That's available to you too. So we'll see you tomorrow for another video. I love you and fruit on.